Alrighty, we're back with the second episode of whatever the fuck I'm gonna call this later. I am once again Parker Fyraga, your most ungracious host of this most ungracious project that I'm doing. Winging it again with a different format this time. Yippee. Hopefully a little bit more structured. But today I have someone I've been wanting to get talk to one-on-one for a very long time, as I've been a long-time enjoyer of their work. Yet another Sequence Break member. I'm collecting these bitches like Pokemon. And and someone who I would call my favorite GM within the Sequence Break team. Kat, would you like to introduce yourself?
You're just gassing me up. I'm Kat. I'm Sequence Break's manager. I would say manager. You can find me on all platforms, ghosted_TC, or just ghosted TC in general. Let me shill, and you can find me on Sequence Break in many of the games. The games.
Most games, honestly.
All but Learn Mortality.
But yeah. So today we have a very different format than what we have with Tally. God bless her soul. I'll probably have her back on. Structure. I'm not used to that. Anyways, so today I have brought two topics that I wanted to discuss with Kat, and then Kat has brought a topic of their own that they would like to bring up themselves. We're gonna go back and forth, me, then Kat, then me, and I'm gonna start off with something.
Gonna interrupt you.
And I want to start off specifically with a topic that I think should be a bit more talked about than I've seen it be talked about within both break time and in general. Kat is quite literally, as someone who's been in that server, Kat, how does your day-to-day feel being the babysitter of Sequence Break?
It does feel like I'm babysitting sometimes. Sequence Break has really prepared me to go into education. But no, I love Sequence Break. I love them a lot. But nothing would get done if I didn't push them to do things. Or, push them to not do things when everyone needs a break.
Absolutely.
You gotta have somebody who's willing to be like, no, we're doing this thing, or no, fuck you, we're not doing this thing. Sit down.
Mm-hmm. So,
I both people.
Yeah.
There were two wolves.
No, exactly. So from my experience, Kat not only does a lot of the calendar organizing, even though Tally is the one who actually sets it in motion.
Tally really makes the playing schedule, which makes sense because she's the primary recorder.
Mm-hmm.
But I do all the social media shit, so I do the posting schedule.
Yeah.
And I make sure that we pace ourselves with posting things.
Absolutely. Kat has also been the one to push Sequence Break to do a lot of different stuff. I mean, 10 candles, man. That was...
I love 10 candles.
That was incredible.
It was a hard sell. It was a really hard sell.
I have no doubt that it was, knowing the type of people that you're playing with. I say that lovingly. I love all of you.
I pitched it not just once. I pitched it a couple times. I was like, hey, I want to play this. It didn't get much traction the first time, and then I just was like, okay, here's a pitch. I want to play this for Halloween. We're doing it.
No, but that's... It is...
And I think it's by far some of my best work.
I would have to agree that it is some of your best work, though what I think is your best work, we'll get into a topic later down the line.
Again, also horror. Maybe I should just... Listen, I'm a fantasy writer by nature, but a horror TTRPG runner. I don't know how I keep ending up in the horror space, but I do.
Well, I hope you stick with it, because it's...
I love it.
It is incredible, and I genuinely do enjoy it. But something that I think no one realizes is that people sometimes, and I've seen this happen, people sometimes think that Tally, quote-unquote, leads Sequence Break. And I wanted to bring this up because I don't think that's entirely true. Because I see a lot of contribution from everybody.
No, everybody contributes in their own way.
Mm-hmm.
We are a group, and we delegate things as we can.
Yeah.
And a lot of things do end up on Tally, because, like, she's been editing for years, so a lot of the editing stuff does end up on her. I also edit a little bit.
Mhm.
I'm not as fast as her, nor do I have the stamina to do it, so I can't do it as much, but I still try.
Mhm.
Like, I've edited some Lost Ascension, I edited Mates 2, Mates 1, I edited Riddles, except for the last session, because there was a deadline.
Mhm.
I haven't edited JoJo yet, but I will probably edit some JoJo given how many JoJo series are going to be running at the same time within the next year.
Oh yeah,
Christ.
there is a ton of
I think
JoJo's
it's
content.
going to be, I think within the next 6 months we will have had 4 JoJo games end. 2 end coming up soon, because Strings is approaching end, and Learn Mortality has been all recorded, but is being posted over time.
And then
Learn
we
Mortality, and then we have Wesley's doing a mini-series, and I'm doing a mini-series. So, like, next 6 months, we're gonna have... Strings will end, Learn Mortality will end, Wesley will run a mini-series, I will run a mini-series, and then we're running Recess and Hypnochrome. And at some point in there, Tally might run Disjoint,
God,
depending.
I would.
That's still on the docket, but I think she's gonna run her other games first.
Mhm.
Because she's got some fun things on the docket. She's got a court game she wants to run. She's got Code Lyoko TTRPG, which is a court game, but it's separate from the other court game.
Yeah, I'm very excited
I
for.
want to run a Rask at some point because
I
feel a lot better about the rules now that I've gone over them with fresh eyes.
Yes. I know I'm still a fan, but if you ever want to do a fan game of Harask, I
gotta
would
do
love.
test games,
Yeah.
but that's once I write out. See, here's the thing. I have 2 classes left that need conceptual work. They have nothing, and that's martial artist and chaos wizard. Everything else has up to concepts up to level 10 or 12, and some are finished. Like Weapon Master is finished, Bruiser is finished, Scoundrel is finished, at least in concept.
Mhm. Everything has a
Shapeshifter is finished.
everything
Yeah,
has a
everything's got a
baseline for
concept.
the most part.
Yeah, it's just I really gotta write out the rules, and that's the boring part. I was reworking Paradigms the other day because I was working on crafting stuff, and I've limited down the base book to having a total of 40 Paradigms total.
God damn.
It used to be close to 50, but I've pared them down and I'm adding subtypes to some of them.
Mhm.
So there will be some where you take, like, a scholar is getting like 3 or 4 subtypes, where it's got historian and scientist and I can't remember the other ones. I could probably group archaeologist in there, but I think that's a different category.
Yeah. No, I can see how that'd be kind of different.
Yeah.
But
Oh, what am I doing here?
ladies and gents, they're currently looking at the dock. I think.
Oh, what doc? Oh no, I'm crocheting.
Oh, you're
Wait,
crocheting.
I'm remembering all the rest stuff from memory
Oh wow.
because that shit's like ingrained into my blood.
Oh my god, yeah, that's me with Strange Journey. That is it is when you work on it for so long, every little thing that you remember from it just kind of sticks with you.
Yep.
Yeah, I completely get it. I think Strange Journey is now in its 3rd incarnation as of the recent style of the game. But it's been in development for 4 years so far. I forget how long
Rask
Rask.
has been in 7.
7 years. Wow. Okay, I have a long way to go.
I found. Did I tell you? I found the Rask 1.0 docs.
You did tell me this. They are.
Yeah,
they are funky.
Wild.
They are funky.
They had skill. They sure did have stats, and those stats sure were fucked.
Oh my god.
When
yeah.
we used to have D4s added to everything.
Oh my
I
god.
wasn't even around for 1.0.
Ladies and gents, a Rask it could be a case study as to the difficulties of making contested rolling level up.
Yeah.
It really could be a masterclass of its own. I appreciate her asking.
In the most loving way.
Yeah. It's your little Fallout baby. Anyways. Back to kind of what I was saying earlier. People kind of gloss over some of the other Sequence Break crew, from what I know, because everyone's got their favorite characters and then everyone's got their favorite GMs. But I feel like a lot of the behind-the-scenes stuff goes very unnoticed. Tally obviously does a lot of the editing and does a lot of the play calendars and a lot of running games, because originally they were the only person willing to record.
Yep. Which is now no longer the case.
Yeah, now the hierarchy of the Sequence Break universe is going to be changing.
I know.
Yeah.
I have to edit all of Damien's sessions. Speaking to a later topic.
Skipping to a later topic. No, but I feel like the amount that you do goes very underappreciated, because again, you do the social media stuff, you do editing here or there where Tally can't, you do the post schedule, I said social media, you babysit us.
I do babysit break time.
You do babysit break time.
They're my favorite babies, though. For the most part.
For the most part. We don't talk about him. We don't talk about Bruno.
We don't talk about Bruno.
But you do so much for the community, for the team itself. All of you guys do, and I feel like every time I'm gonna have a break time member on, I'm going to say, hey, this is the guy that does this, or this is the guy that does that, or this is the guy that blew your mind a couple years ago when you first watched the series and you didn't realize it.
Yep.
Which is gonna probably happen a lot.
Yeah. I mean, the longer we go on, the more I see, like, they're the very obvious and very loud, like, people who are like, oh my god, I love X character so much, and those guys are really, really loud. But there's also the quiet people who, like Meef's.
Yeah, but Noodle's partner. They are...
Meef's partner.
Yeah, Meef's partner. Meef's partner. A lot of outtakes. Meep's partner is quite honestly one of the nicest people I ever met.
Oh yeah.
You know the story about how Richard met them.
Yes, I do.
It's so hilarious every time.
But the fact that Noodle really loves Renegade really warms my heart, because Renegade is honestly, like, people really like her because she's very funny, haha, very loud. Mm-hmm. But I've put some of my, like, hardest acting into Renegade because she's such a complex character, and I would love for that just to be touched upon more.
She is a very complex character because people don't realize that she's been through a lot, and that she's...
Oof.
Yeah. Oh god.
She started out very funny haha, as all Star Wars Now characters did, because it was our, quote, funny summer game.
Yeah.
And we didn't think it would really become anything. And then it became everything.
And then it became your guys's... I don't want to say legacy, because you guys all have a bunch of stuff going on that I think will triumph over Sequence Break at some point.
Oh, yeah.
But you guys do have a legacy going there.
Yeah, no. It hit the algorithm at the right time with the right thing, and that got it big. And I wouldn't have it any other way, because I have found that I really love JoJo, despite never having seen JoJo.
That is...
And I will die on that hill.
I was gonna say, that might be a fun, La Galleria watch party. Never happened,
now. I'm not gonna join.
I know you're not gonna join. I am fully aware.
I'm committed.
I am fully aware that you're committed to this bit.
I've gone 5 years.
You have gone 5 years.
It's been 5 years. This August will be the anniversary of us playing Star Wars Now.
Yes, and I have something... Oh, I have something I really want to do for that.
I don't know when it was posted.
15th?
August 15th, was it?
I think so. August 15th or 5th. It's either one.
Oh. Electro City.
We
August
open
1st.
in Electro City.
The monologue. Tally's opening monologue is great.
Yeah.
We're approaching 45,000 views on Star Wars Now, so 1.5.
44K. That is still so wild to me.
We are still the #1 watched JoJo TTRPG video.
And y'all deserve every single view.
I'm just staring at old Sebastian now, looking at this kooky motherfucker.
Old Sebastian looks like an old man, and then we go to new Sebastian, and he looks like a fucking Chad.
Yeah, it's because he was trying to make himself look like a vampire.
Yeah. I think he made himself look more like a fucking ghoul. Yeah, and then he found love in a hopeless place. Truly.
We did find love.
That was the music reference of all time. Anyways. All right, dear viewers, you are now understanding why I have no viewers.
Oh.
Don't worry. I am not fun.
We'll show this.
We'll show this. We'll do a lot with it. Well, now, seeing as how my topic is dead, mostly of my fault. I would like to move on to the topic that you brought along to the table, which I'm actually very excited to hear more about.
Oh my god. Listen, the only reason I bring this up is because I'm on a mission, and that mission is to finish a book draft by the end of the year. So, context. This is a book that I'm writing again. This is attempt, 5 or 6. I never really get past, chapter 2 or 3.
Mm-hmm.
Except for the first time I wrote it, which I wrote it for National Novel Writing Month, or, NaNoWriMo.
Mm.
Which, it's really fun. It's really stressful. NaNoWriMo is you write 50,000 words in the month of November. And if you complete the goal, they give you a subscription to Scrivener, which is a really cool writing program, which I should use more, because it's a great alternative to Google Docs. But I wrote this fantasy novel because I had been inspired by things like October Day and Naomi Novik, who is a wonderful fantasy writer. I think she also wrote a sci-fi series at some point. But I decided I'm going to write a fantasy novel. And so I created characters, and I created a world, and I just kind of went. And I decided the pushing force is that this small, coalition of villages that are protected by these twin magical siblings is being invaded by a nearby kingdom. And the nearby kingdom has killed my main character's brother. And so she has to figure out what the fuck he was doing, and also make sure that her home is not destroyed by this incoming force. And it was a good first draft. I wrote it when I was 17, so I've come a long fucking way.
Yeah, because you're, I forget, 24? 23? Yeah, 24.
24. So it's been almost 7 years. 7 years this October. And it was a good first draft. But I handed it to my mother, and my mother was like, "This is good. Now, why don't you try writing it in third person?" And over the last 6 years, I've tried writing in third person over and over and over again. Because third person is hard.
It is very hard.
It is by far the hardest, point of view. Well,
as someone who's currently writing...
Second person is hard.
Second person's... That's impossible. My friend...
The entirety of Homestuck is written in, second person.
Homestuck's its own different beast, alright? Homestuck is a beast. I had a friend, his name's, Lake DiStefano. He's a current, poem author in the Staten Island area. Absolutely love the man. And he was writing a fantasy book called Folklore, which was going to be, within second person at first. And then, I think his editor chewed him out for it. And he's no longer writing in second person.
Good choice.
Listen
to the editor.
I forget exactly why he stopped doing it. I think it was his editor. It may have also been his manager at the time. I forget. But
his agent?
His agent, probably. I forget what exactly. But I remember being at a dinner with him for my friend's birthday, and he talked about it, and everyone at the table was elated.
Oh, listen, a second-person story would be really neat. It's just very hard to pull off in, a book format.
It really is, and the
second-person is very... It leans itself well to the internet. honestly.
It does. It does lend itself very well to that kind of stuff, and that's why I think Homestuck worked.
Homestuck worked. Like the first like act, the opening thing, like is like a young man stands in his room. It just so happens that today, April 13th, 2009, happens to be his 13th birthday. And it's like, what do you name this boy? And he's talking to you, the reader, of like, what do you name him? And then the joke is, well, the history is, Andrew Hussey posted it to a forum and actually let the forum decide what they would try to name the boy, and it ended up being Zeus Smell Poop Lord. And so then he made a joke of, not that.
That's good.
That's what happens when you give your fans agency.
That is, honestly, the kind of stuff that you could do now that you're writing it in third person is a lot more expansive than first person type stuff.
Oh yeah.
Because with an omniscient or third party narrator,
I'm doing third person limited.
Yeah, third person limited, which is honestly really great. That's very good scope. My friend Lake was originally, as I mentioned, doing it second person, which was very difficult at the time. Because at certain points it converged to first person, and then he was trying to switch different like groups within the story, and I'm just sitting there like, bro, you're gonna tire yourself out. You are going to exhaust yourself trying to do this. And I say that as someone who tried to write in first person. But as someone who tried to write in first person, like they were first-hand accounts, I have a bit of trouble getting into the mindset of characters when I'm not acting as them. So there were times where I tried to write acting like my characters, and my mom heard me in the other room because I live in the bottom-most floor of my house.
Yeah,
and
you live in the basement.
I live in the basement, though I'm not a basement dweller.
Not yet.
Not yet. I don't have the fedora for it.
Wesley could hook you up.
I'm going to politely decline. I think the hat looks better on him.
True.
Yeah, it does. Well, you objectively can't say anything else.
Of course.
Of course you can.
I love him in his fedora. It's very cute. It's just his dedication.
It really is. But she heard me in the other room, and she's like, "What the hell are you doing?" And I had to sit there and explain to her that. So I'm not sure I'm willing to put myself through that again. I had to do it again to voice Radish Knight. And then she heard me. And then I had to explain to her the next day that I wasn't going fucking psycho. So, I think I'd rather just do third person.
See, if you weren't in your, parents' basement, I would recommend actually just, like, getting a voice to text, like, speech to text. You know what I mean.
Yeah, like VTT type stuff. I know what you mean.
Yeah. And just write that way.
That would...
If you ever wanted to write in first person.
That actually wouldn't be a bad idea. You are right. Because I do have a better handle on RP in, like...
Yeah.
When it comes to getting into character. I like to say that I'm pretty good at getting into character with who I play. But when it comes to just, like...
Putting it down on a page.
Yes, it is a little bit more difficult for me. I can do actions and I can express thought processes, but sometimes dialogue takes me a bit to get working. And first person, sadly, is a lot of dialogue.
Oh yeah, first person is a lot of dialogue.
But
whether that be internal dialogue, external dialogue, monologuing dialogue.
Oh my god, don't even start on fucking monologues and soliloquies and
monologue.
bullshit. Monologues are great.
Listen,
monologues are great.
An acting background.
I
had to memorize monologues.
Valid. I technically, I'm not a theater kid in the I was on stage. I'm a theater kid in the I did stage crew.
I adore you even more. Fun fact. My junior and senior year of high school, I was stage manager and basically the entire stage crew for my junior and senior year spring musicals, which were Grease and High School Musical the musical.
Oh.
I'm so sick and tired of High School Musical because we also did it in middle school. So I bet you could put me on stage and I would still know all of the moves for High School Musical.
That will be fun for if I ever get to meet y'all.
I wasn't even on stage.
Yeah, you do get ingrained to hearing a lot of that stuff. So I had a very fun. I have a odd story to tell. So outside of high school, I also did stage crew help for a family friend who did like productions for like middle schoolers and elementary school kids, as like auxiliary like paid departments to help out for the schools.
Yeah.
And one year they were doing Shrek the Musical. Shrek the Musical Junior.
Shrek Junior.
Yeah, Shrek Junior. And for the scene with Fiona being found out as an ogre, they have a spotlight on her that like... No, they have very specific lighting to like set the dramatic kind of mood, because it's like light coming from like within like the cabin.
Mm-hmm.
But the stand for the light just wouldn't work because it wasn't really even a stand. The light had to like kind of hang from like this closet within backstage, and the light would not hang. It would constantly fall, and at some point we were really afraid of it breaking. So me being the bright ass I am, decided I have a solution, let the show go on, didn't tell anyone until after I did this the first night. I sat in that closet throughout the whole scene with that light on my shoulder. When I tell you my shoulder was bruised for a week...
Oh, I bet it was.
It was purple, Kat.
Oh.
This was in the summer, though, so I had time to recover. So I'm fine. I think my back pain might be a result of that, but I'm fine. I have the back of a 41-year-old and I'm 21. But that might just because of the stupid shit that I pull sometimes, and the commission posture.
Probably a lot of the commission posture.
Yeah, it's a lot of the shrimp posture.
Shrimp.
Shrimp. I've been thinking of just getting a PNG of a shrimp and just putting that in La Galleria as the quote-unquote commissioner's emote. That might be something I do soon. No, but with fantasy writing, as we were trying to get on topic.
As we come back to the topic.
Fantasy writing in itself is something that I really adore.
Prose writing in general.
Prose writing in general. I adore it because I genuinely believe that fantasy, the genre specifically, is one of the most freeing that you can do.
It's incredibly freeing.
It is. It really is.
That's part of why I'm writing it again, is because, my god, I need a break.
Yeah. While I love, like, hard settings like JoJo's and, like, all that stuff, even D&D at times can be draining because there's so many rules to this stuff.
There's so much you have to think about. And if you're writing a fantasy novel, especially one within a universe that you create, you get to choose what's happening. You don't have to confer with others. You don't have to, like, set the stakes and entice people in. You can just write.
Mm-hmm.
And that's kind of what I'm aiming for with this new book, because I'm returning. Something I did with the old versions is I tried to extend it backwards and dive in more to the backstory of my main character and, like, make a prequel book, and it just wasn't working, because no matter how hard I tried, it just felt like I had too much at stake given what I knew about the future book. So I just returned to the original, like, plot with some modifications from the other drafts that I had done. And I'm going at it again, and it's going a lot better. I'm only like 7 pages in, but that means I'm like 4,500 words in.
Damn. Either
Yeah,
way, that's still.
Hold on. Do I have the draft open? I do. I can tell you how many words I am. Sorry, I'm only at 4,000.
4,000.
4,004.
Even so, that's still impressive.
Yeah, I mean, I wrote it in like a couple days.
Yeah, a couple days, 4,000 words, especially when you're trying to get your first draft or trying to refix a draft at some point. It is.
Yeah, the first draft is, fun fact, on my Patreon.
Hey yo, go to TC Patreon. Let's go.
Goes to TC Patreon.
Goes to TC Patreon.
Pay me
Yo.
$1.
Yo, summer streams where we talk about stuff. That'd be fun.
Summer streams coming soon after I get back from Disney World.
Let's go.
Let's go.
Ooh.
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 Yeah, no, I'm definitely gonna come back to stream it.
Yeah, that I would love it because I remember you did it for a little bit before you landed your teaching job. Yeah, then you got hired. Then you got a job. Then you started to do this thing called pay the bills.
Get a bank.
Get bank. Which, honestly, mad respect. I'm very happy for you that you found something that worked.
Well, they've pulled some shit, so like.
Yeah, that worked for the time.
That worked for the time. That paid me more than my job at a coffee shop.
Mm-hmm.
With more reliable hours.
Well.
So.
At least you made bank.
At least I made bank.
Yeah.
And I liked what I did.
Yeah.
And like, if they have me do that again next year, I will be fine with it.
Mm-hmm.
But they gotta not like beat around the bush about it for now.
Absolutely understandable. I 100% agree with that.
Listen, education is a dumpster fire. I don't recommend going into it. That goes to all the viewers as well.
Yeah. Listen, unless you really enjoy teaching kids and like prepping the next generation for something, don't do it.
If you enjoy bureaucracy.
If you enjoy bureaucracy. If you enjoy influencing the little minds, go for it.
That's like 40% of the job. The other 60% of another 40% is dealing with the administration. And the other 20% is figuring out if they'll let you do the things you want to do.
Are you talking about teaching or sequence break?
Teaching.
Okay, just had to make sure. Something I can never tell sometimes. I can never tell. Tally, I love you guys. I'm kidding. I'm joking. I'm joking. I'm kidding.
You kidding?
I'm kidding. I swear to God, I'm kidding.
We're kidding. We're
joking.
Don't kill me.
Please, God, don't kill me. Please, God. I just got here.
You can't kill Richards.
Don't. Not on my own podcast. Not on my own show. Not on my own show.
I'll get you on my show then.
I would love to be on your show. You can call me whatever the hell you want on your show.
As long as it's not during your internship.
I go by a pseudonym, Kat.
I know.
They don't know who the fuck I am. You can call me whatever the hell you want, as long as it's not freaking gonna upset people.
Diverting from the topic.
Oh, diverting from the topic. Alright, back to the topic. The thing that I
don't know if there's much else I have to talk about.
I can expand on stuff a little bit, because I mentioned how freeing fantasy is as a genre.
Yeah.
And I think that's why I'm gonna enjoy Strange Journey so much. Because the way that I'm writing Strange Journey as the campaign and as the game itself is very much, it's a fantasy setting, which anything can happen within it. Mm-hmm. So if I wanted to run like a horror game, I could, within the world of Strange Journey. If I wanted to run a sci-fi game, I could. And
within the world of Strange Journey.
Yes. Because the whole idea of Erua, which is what the world is called, what my globe is called, is that globe. It kind of has that Pokemon structure of being split into regions, even though there are continents and small islands that make up those regions. Each region has their own thing going on. has their own world, has their own politics, culture, beliefs. So, honestly, with the way that JoJo's works with parts, I could very well do that within my world.
That's cool.
Yeah, and I structured it like that from day one, because I knew for a fact that if I was going to run this, that I wanted to be able to be as free and open as possible. Because I didn't want to fall into a trap that I noticed with other games and with other settings. What I'm going to call the Feige effect.
Named after?
Named after Kevin Feige, who is responsible for the MCU. Everything being overconnected. Now,
I see.
Now, I have no problem with a connected world. In fact, I do want to put tidbits of stuff where, like, oh, this character's coming back, or this character's kind of present through everything, because they're kind of like a storyteller, or they're just involved in a lot of conflict. But I don't want it to.
I make about the JoJo universe in our games.
but honestly, I want to be kind, but I have to say it. That is a problem I noticed with the JoJo series, because I noticed that the one series that diverts heavily is Learn Mortality. And it's the one time I can say, oh my god, they're doing an extended universe. Whereas for the longest time, it just felt like Electros the series.
I mean, if you think about it, our JoJo series hasn't had these, like, quote-unquote time to break out. Yeah, we've been going at this for like 5 fucking years. But we're finishing up Strings later this year. That's part 2.
Right.
I know for a fact part 3 is not super connected. Hypnochrome is not super connected. I have a Miraculous JoJo game that is by far the least connected. It has 1 connection to mainline total. Part 4 I know is incredibly separate. Like part 4, Wesley's sequel game, so not connected. But it's really because, like, a lot of our games at the moment, like, Strings just hasn't finished.
Yeah,
as soon as we get past that,
a lot of what I've noticed
become
is
a lot less.
Yeah. No, I completely get what you mean, because I noticed that, and this is not Wesley's fault, because there are a lot of reasons why it didn't end. Yeah. But... Hands. Two main reasons. They're hands.
Took me a second.
No, but it was that, it was burnout, it was so much stuff, and because of that, we have been stuck in the era of Electros for a little while longer than I think was intended.
Yeah.
But we have gotten some very good content out of it. Everything with Edwin, everything with going on...
God, Edwin.
With the SRN crew getting more extended time to shine, including what is coming up very soon.
Oh, trust me. The current era of JoJo's is wonderful. And there's a whole lot of things to love about it. And I think having... Obviously things are going to branch off. But I can segue into the joke that I'd like to make about our JoJo's universe. It's not a JoJo's universe. It centers around Mallory. Not really. But if you think about it, all the games except for Learn Mortality center around Mallory in some way. Or Mallory's family. Except for maybe Final Links. But, like, we have Decay, which is centers around Mallory and her family. And her family then extends to Edwin, which then goes to Servant now. And the whole Requiem thing, and Jonah being basically her nephew, and making Jodie her grandniece.
Oh, that's a weird thought. That is a very odd... Oh, wow. I didn't expect to have a revelation like that. I'm gonna be honest, I didn't expect that.
That Jodie is, like, Mallory's grandniece.
No, that everything revolves somehow around Mallory.
Yeah.
That is...
I didn't mean for it to happen.
Oh, I had a feeling you didn't.
Mallory's become incredibly influential upon the entire universe.
She really has.
And I love her. I love her so much. She's by far one of my favorite characters.
I think she's also one of my favorites. I think a lot of my favorite characters stem from stuff that you've done. I know I love Mallory. She's my favorite Decay character. I know Toby is my current favorite Strings character. But I think a lot of my favorite characters do stem from a lot of the projects that you were involved in. I know Lure Mortality. I am in love with a lot of characters. But at the same time, the fates that they meet in Lure Mortality, I feel are kind of justified. Someone particular. But a series that I really feel I am in love with the characters is Eclipse.
I was gonna wonder if that's your segue.
It very much was not going to be at first, but then I realized, oh, this sounds good. Eclipse is one of those games that brings you into something you didn't know you enjoyed. I knew I enjoyed ARGs, because at the time I was into the stuff with Gravity Falls. I loved FNAF was a phase I had for like a year. And
classic.
yeah, and then I started outside looking in like a fucking weirdo. But then I realized that I saw when I first joined in break time, I had not watched any of the non-JoJo stuff, which I now
as most people haven't.
Yeah, which now in my enlightened era, I have come to regret, because if I had been a bit more open back then, if I had been a bit smarter with my time, I would have had the luxury of coming into break time on an Eclipse premiere.
Mm-hmm.
And oh my god. So I had never enjoyed horror before. I think I've touched on this. I've never enjoyed horror in my life.
Mm-hmm.
FNAF, mascot, jump scare horror never got me. I never enjoyed psychological thriller. I've never enjoyed much of that stuff at all.
Mm-hmm.
And then I discovered Eclipse, and I watched through it. And I realized something about Eclipse that I wanted to get your opinion on. Eclipse is what I call horror with hope.
Yeah.
Because everything within Eclipse has some form of explanation, and therefore has some form of identification of how to either avoid or escape the horror.
You wanna know why that is?
How come?
I'm gonna say the joke answer, but then the real answer.
Mm-hmm.
The joke answer is that Wesley and I are both heavily autistic, and we need an explanation for everything. The real answer is Wesley and I are heavily autistic and need an explanation for everything.
How did I know that's what you're gonna pull?
Because I'm predictable and funny.
You're pretty funny.
Yeah, it's one of my great traits, being funny.
Yeah, haha.
But honestly, I attribute Wesley's need for an explanation for everything, just in case. Like, we never intend to tell, like, anything about how the hotel functions, really.
And then you have
Or
Richard
how
on
rainfall.
your party.
See, here's the thing. Like, we'll tell them how it functions, but not why.
Mm-hmm.
But we have the why. We have the why for everything. And that's what makes it so easily solid. Is because we know why. We as storytellers know why, and know why these things are happening, how they're running into these things, etc., etc.
Mm-hmm.
And that gives us such a strong basis that we can easily give them hope.
That is a very good look at it. Because for me, it was the fact that there was a way out. I never realized how much goes into making that way out. First off, in Eclipse 2, which is what essentially it is, we are currently in Eclipse 2, you have not only made a way out, you made a way in.
Yes.
Which I think is hilarious looking back, because knowing...
Eclipse 2 is heavily influenced by internet creepypastas and SCPs.
I was gonna say, the whole thing felt very... Okay, this is gonna sound like an insult. This is gonna sound like an insult, but I need you to stick with me here. It felt very Backrooms met the Infinite IKEA.
No, that's what I was going for, Parker.
Oh, good shit.
That was my inspiration, exactly.
Good.
It's because when I started formulating, like, what the hotel, like, when we were prepping for everything, and I have a whole bunch of, like, photos and stuff, because Wesley was visiting Minnesota, and was staying at a hotel, and this hotel was liminal as fuck.
Mm-hmm.
But I had all these pictures, and it was helping me formulate things, and there are things that came from that hotel specifically, like the pool on the 3rd floor. Like, it's one of those things that's like, who the fuck puts a pool on the 3rd floor? But this hotel legitimately did put a pool on the 3rd floor.
I still find that funny.
It's one of my favorite little details, is like, that's not even like a horror thing. That's not me trying to be spooky. That's just me, like, pulling from this stupid hotel that we were at. But one of the things that Wesley and I were taking in a lot of was the back rooms had just made it big. Like, the back rooms had just, like, severely taken off when I was formulating the hotel. And why it worked the way it worked. And one of the things I loved about the back rooms was the lighting.
Oh my god.
I wanted to try and give it that feel of lighting without specifically making it yellow.
So you went...
And I think we succeeded.
You very much succeeded, because the moody kind of vibe that the hotel has, I think works very well. It's very sterile. It's very... How do I explain it? It's very casual to the point where it doesn't feel casual.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
It feels fake. Which, spoiler alert, it essentially is.
It very much is.
It very much is. No context to that out of context statement, but it basically is.
Yeah.
If you want context, go watch the Daily Eclipse on the Secrets Break YouTube channel.
I'm happy to talk a little bit of spoilers, because, like,
for the next
so much to Daily Eclipse too.
Absolutely. For the next span of a few minutes, we will be talking spoilers.
Here's your timestamp.
Here's your timestamp right here in the top right corner.
Skip to here.
Skip to here. We'll put a timestamp in the description below. Check your chapters, folks.
I was doing blinker hands. That's the only way, like, imitating like flashing text on screen.
Oh my god, yeah.
I do a lot with my hands that nobody can see. The curse of being a voice on a screen.
I pull that shit too. The curse of being an Italian. From New York. Gotta pull it out a little bit. Oh fuck, it's hard to get out of.
It's hard to get out of.
Yeah, okay, there we go.
Don't worry. I'm gonna say something. It's gonna be like bag or something. And I'm gonna slip into my like full Midwest accent and you're gonna laugh at me.
You act like I have any ground to stand on. I don't.
You don't, but I would still... You can still laugh at me. I do not mind. My Midwest accent is funny. Because I do say, like, bag.
Oh. I see what you mean.
Give me
the bag.
It's a ghost. It's
oh my god!
And then once I start slipping into it, you know, it's real hard to get out of.
Oh
and now I'm just overdoing it, of course.
But
it wouldn't be so bad outside if it weren't for the humidity.
I actually love this.
I'm gonna have a character at some point that has that full blown.
Okay, bring it back.
Bring it back.
Bring it back.
Bring it back. Eclipse 2. There's a whole bunch of things. This is a little detail that I had to think about a lot.
Mm-hmm.
So the things in the hotel melt, right? It's because they're all made of this substance. This substance can be really easily explained if you have a very simple chemistry kit.
Mm-hmm.
Which I don't think anybody really tried to test the substance. I can't remember anyone doing it.
From what I know, no one tried.
Have you ever played with raw silicone?
I haven't, but I know. But I've seen experiments with it.
Have you seen those silicone rolling videos?
Yes.
Yeah. So the entire hotel is made of silicone, pure silicone. And it's a little detail that could have been discovered, but wasn't.
Huh.
You hear it first here. And so I had to figure out how silicone interacts with a lot of things. And it doesn't have the lowest melting point, but
it's pretty close.
We played it up as human
human
The temperature
heat.
of your hands will start to melt it.
Yeah.
It'll become malleable.
I see what you mean. Oh, that's so cool.
Yeah, it's stuff like that. Like, who in the world is gonna test the subject, the substance of that?
Yeah, who's
but
gonna?
we had the explanation anyway.
Yeah, who's gonna fucking test if it's made of silicone?
Peter could have.
Peter could have, but he
I was
doesn't.
expecting Richard to.
I was gonna say. I'm surprised Rick didn't bring a kit or stuff like that
He didn't.
into the hotel. He didn't.
He had a very specific inventory. Everyone did, because I was like, hey, y'all are no stuck. Write out specifically what's in your inventory.
Yeah. Knowing my soft ass, what I would have done is I would have given them like the equivalent of 2 plots points to say, hey, you pull this thing out. My soft ass. Yeah.
Nah, I go hard when I run horror.
No, absolutely. I think that's...
If you have anything you want to talk about with Eclipse 1, because I was also I was very much the brains of Eclipse 1.
Yeah, because I know you did a lot of the
I
ARG.
did all of the puzzles.
Yeah, I did all the puzzles, all the ARG, the Tumblr. Oh my fucking god, the Tumblr.
The Tumblr, which was ready day of that we needed it.
You still did very good with that, though. Holy
yeah.
shit.
I had to type out... Speaking of first person being hard,
Oh,
Natalie
yeah.
is such a, complex and complicated character. And I love her. But also, Jesus fuck, girl, get vampy.
Christ almighty. Lady.
She was essentially a cult leader for a little while.
She really was.
Yep.
Wow.
I loved playing her. She was just like, oh, I hate this. Fuck you, die.
That was... I will say, I think she was one of the highlights of Eclipse for me.
And she was gay.
She was
I
gay!
don't think we intended them to be gay.
You didn't,
But
I
we
think...
had 2 characters, and then I wrote them as girls, and Wesley was like, okay.
Which, honestly, I think played out very well.
Oh yeah.
Absolutely.
It was almost bury your gaze. Natalie almost died. She could have died a lot.
It was ruined Yuri.
Very much ruined Yuri. But now they're happy and living out their days in Montana.
Yeah. That's... happy ending. Until we find out Rainfall came back and slit their throats in their sleep.
Yep, until we find out that Rainfall came back and slit their throats.
Yeah, but actually he...
Speaking of another thing, speaking of Rainfall,
Mhm.
I love fucking with Mord as the Rainfall hallucinations.
It is so fun!
Tally plays Mord so fucking well. And God does it make me want to punch Mord in the face, but that just means I can play up the Rainfall hallucinations. And in the upcoming arc, which I might be able to prep over the summer in time for, something around Halloween-y kind of thing.
Mhm.
Even though I still want to play Ten Candles somehow. Her portrayal of Mord is so iconic, and I can't wait to just absolutely fuck with him.
It's... Oh my god, it is quite literally one of my favorite parts of Season 2 is how Mort is still, to this day, dealing with Rainfall
Oh yeah,
and how it's
been a
affected.
couple years.
It's been a couple years. So, viewers, it wasn't months. It wasn't like the wound is still fresh.
No, I'd like to say Daily Eclipse 2 started 2022, so it had been 2 years since they defeated Rainfall.
Yeah. You know what? Even at that point, the scars are fresh. The wounds have healed, but the scars are fresh.
And those scars hurt.
Like a motherfucker.
And Wesley and I are both somewhat sadistic GMs and love fucking with them so fucking much.
I couldn't but notice. It is... Honestly, I honestly believe it to be one of my favorite things about Eclipse is how hard you guys go on to...
On the player characters?
On the players. Yeah, because you guys don't pull your punches when it matters.
No. Do you want to know how long I had been planning? Spoilers for season 2, Dahlia.
Oh,
Years.
Can I just say I was shook.
Good. Cause, yeah.
That was wild.
Basically at the end of, actually no, before the end. When had I brought okay, so, episode 6?
I think it was
Episode
6.
6? No, episode 6 of Daily Eclipse 1, I think, was government?
I think you're right on that. Yeah, I think you're right.
I think I'm right on that.
Mm-hmm.
Whenever the Mad Hatter document came up, because obviously at this point, we all know Mad Hatter is Elm.
Right.
And it was because of Cherry when they were interacting that they gave it, like, the Mad Hatter. And there's a document for Wonderland that never got shown.
Mm-hmm.
That might be shown later. Who knows? I have it somewhere in my logs. But that episode is when I solidified that Dahlia was going to be a part of the hotel.
That is...
It didn't have a form yet, but I knew that it was going to be a bunch of people a bunch of corpses.
Mm-hmm.
I knew that they were going to run into it at some point. And I really wanted that hard-hitting thing for Lizzie.
It was, I think, very emotionally hitting for me, because I remembered, at the time, I understand that time differences and moving on from stuff, like, can really break up a party sometimes. So, knowing Elle's player left after a while, completely understand. Because time gets in the way, things happen, blah blah blah.
Yeah.
We all understand. So I was like, oh, that sucks, but I guess that means we won't ever get much of her second character within Eclipse
Ivy?
1. Yeah, we won't get much of Ivy, and nothing really happened with Dahlia. And then that happened, and I was just like, huh? Had a bit of a Technoblade, huh? So it was definitely wild. It was just wild for me as someone who loved Dahlia.
I love Dahlia so much. She's such a fun character.
She's an extremely fun character. I absolutely adore Dahlia. I remember
I hope I portrayed her well. I think I did.
I think you did very well. I think the way that you and Dahlia's original player portrayed them are very different.
Oh yeah.
But I think they're different in a very good way. Because I
was
think
intentionally trying to go for different but similar.
Mm-hmm.
Because of how the hotel works.
Mm-hmm. No, absolutely. It is very different. But you do see the through lines with such as like how they talk to Lizzie, how the preconceived notions with Mord and Peter that are still around, and then the attraction, which I still think is so funny.
I can't believe in our horror campaign we got our first Fade to Black. That was our first Fade to Black.
Yeah, and it wasn't even horror related.
Nope.
Well, in context it is.
If you think about it.
If you think about in context.
I was cackling internally that entire session.
It was so... I think it was so fun, that specific part, because of what they didn't know.
Yep.
Amy, God bless her heart, Amy. I absolutely love her to death.
She's such a good role player.
Getting off topic. My thing with Eclipse was that you achieved something for a lot of people, including me, that I didn't think possible, and it was that you got me into a genre I felt just didn't fit me. And you also got me into a genre I never thought I'd want to run.
Horror?
I want to run something horror related. Which...
Horror is really hard to run because you gotta... It's a balancing act. All GMing is a balancing act, but horror especially.
I think I would want to ease myself into it, and I would want to do something similar to what Lure Mortality was, in which it'd be psychological horror, in a sense.
Yeah. You
But-
don't just jump feet first into horror unless you're me.
you, for someone like me, I would have to ease myself in.
Yeah, of
For people like Kat and Wesley, they jumped straight into the freaking whole thing.
Oh, have you heard why? What inspired? Because Wesley was the one that wanted to do a horror campaign. I was like, okay, I can co-GM, I can help you because I'm the one who knows horror, the genre, and what he was going for.
Mhm.
And it was I wanted to show him one of my favorite hyperfixations of all time, which is Marble Hornets. Which is, I don't know if you've seen Marble Hornets, have you?
I think I've heard of it.
Okay, Marble Hornets is the big work that gave us a lot of the Slenderman lore.
Oh.
So it started literal months after the forum like contest of like Photoshop horror monsters into pictures, which like is how Slenderman started. It was like a forum contest submission that just took off, as it was the Slenderman, and you can find these pictures pretty much. Was it the Something Awful forums? I used to have this like memorized of like the history of it all.
Yeah.
But Marble Hornets started months after that, because the three main people involved were so inspired by it. And so Marble Hornets is why we have a lot of the Slenderman lore, like the tentacles and the like camera distortion and the proxy stuff, because that's where we also get, I don't know if you know the creepypastas, like the famous creepypasta characters, like the Big Ten, like Masky and Hoodie and Tiki Toby, etc., etc.
I've heard the names.
Okay, so Masky and Hoodie also come directly from Marble Hornets.
Mm-hmm.
So we get those big three names in the like creepypasta community.
Wow.
From Marble Hornets. And I showed Wesley Marble Hornets, and he was like, I want to do something like this. I want to do something like this. And that's how we got Rainfall.
That's awesome.
Man in Suit.
Man in Suit. That's not actually Man in Suit.
That's not actually Man in Suit. But Marble Hornets, because it was also an ARG. It's not just like a horror series. It's also one of the big predecessors to a lot of found footage, like YouTube series.
Mm-hmm.
Because this started fucking 2009. Like, I'd like to say just before Homestuck started, for reference. Hold on. Sorry, no. 2 months after Homestuck started. June 20th, 2009 is when Marble Hornets started.
Mm-hmm.
And it started out as a small thing, but then it grew super fucking big. And it inspired other things like Everyman Hybrid, which is where we get some more stuff and where I pull some inspiration from. And other things like all sorts of ARGs and stuff. One of the first big names was Marble Hornets.
Mm.
There were a couple big names before it, but that's what inspired Eclipse.
That's incredible. And it's funny because a lot of Eclipse derives itself off of, well, not a lot of it, but one of the elements is the Tumblr.
Yes.
And
exactly. And Marble Hornets used to Twitter.
Mm-hmm. So it's like you involved forums, which is what the genre started from, in a way to empower your players.
Yep.
It's the 4D chess that these people are playing, dear viewers. I think we have over an hour of footage. So,
We definitely do.
so with that
There's
said,
anything else you want to talk about Eclipse? I'm happy. Well, at some point I have to do the Q&A, so I can't spill everything.
absolutely. I think I want to save stuff for
Cut
the
it.
Q&A. But with that said, I believe this would be a very good ending off point. So
Good sign-off point.
good sign-off point. So before we go, just to make sure everyone knows, Kat, where can we find you?
You can find me as the voice of Sequence Break, which is at Break Sequence on Twitter, or Sequence Break on YouTube. You can also find me at Twitter at GhostedTC. Instagram is also at GhostedTC. I stream on Twitch. at GhostedTC. And you can find me on Patreon at GhostedTC.
Please,
It's almost like I made myself consistent.
It sounds like
brand.
a brand, branding. No, branding. Please go check out Kat and all that they do. Your support directly helps them continue to do what they do. And
I like being spooky.
and if you want to go, and if you're curious about what the hell I contribute to these fucking people, you can go check out
Lost Ascension.
Go watch Lost Ascension on Sequence Break. Go check out the Break Time server. I'm active on there constantly. And if you're a creator, or someone who enjoys the content that creators make, come check out the La Galleria Discord server, where you can create a store, you can get commissions from people that establish themselves on there, or you can just hang out, which is honestly what most of us do. We hang out, play games, have a watch party here and there. It's a lot of good vibes, and this chuckle fuck here is also part of that. So
it's me. I'm a chuckle fuck.
But with that said, this has been another episode of
whatever the fuck you're gonna call this in post.
Yeah, I gotta find this. I gotta figure that out. And I am Parker Fyraga, signing off. Thank you again for watching.